I bought the house because it was cheap. That should have been the first warning. Nobody sells a 2-story farmhouse on 6 acres of land for less than the price of a used car unless something is wrong with it. But I was desperate. My divorce had emptied my bank account, my job had gone remote, and I wanted to disappear somewhere quiet. The real estate agent said the place had history. I should have asked what kind. The house sat at the end of a narrow dirt road, surrounded by dead trees that leaned inward like they were listening. The paint was peeling. The porch sagged. The windows were dark even in daylight. But inside, it was better than I expected. Old, yes. Dusty, yes. But solid. The floors creaked, the pipes groaned, and the wind sometimes made the walls sigh, but I told myself that was normal. Old houses make noise. For the first 3 nights, nothing happened. On the 4th night, I heard someone walking upstairs. Slow steps. 1 foot, then the other, across the ceiling above my bedroom. I lay there in the dark, staring up, holding my breath. The problem was, there was no upstairs above my bedroom. The 2nd floor ended over the hallway. Above my room was only the attic, and I hadn't even opened it yet. I grabbed a flashlight and a kitchen knife, because apparently that's what people do when they're trying to convince themselves they're not terrified. The attic door was in the hallway ceiling. I pulled down the ladder and waited. No sound. I climbed up slowly, the flashlight beam shaking in my hand. The attic was empty except for insulation, old wooden beams, and a few cardboard boxes left by the previous owners. Dust floated in the air. No footprints. No animals. No person. Then I heard it again. A single step. Not in the attic. Behind the wall. I froze. The sound came from the far end of the attic, where the roof sloped down low. I crawled toward it, shining the flashlight along the boards. That's when I noticed something strange. One section of the wall was newer than the rest. The wood didn't match. The nails were cleaner. Someone had sealed something behind it. I told myself I would check in the morning. Then, from behind the wall, something whispered my name. Daniel. I nearly fell backward. The voice was thin and dry, like someone speaking through a mouth full of dust. I scrambled down the ladder so fast I cut my hand on a nail. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the kitchen with every light on until sunrise. By morning, I had convinced myself I imagined it. Stress. Isolation. Old house sounds. That was the explanation. But when I went outside to get firewood, I saw something written on the frost-covered window of my bedroom. From the inside, Daniel, don't open it. I stood there in the yard, staring at the letters. My bedroom door had been locked all night. I left the house immediately and drove into town. The nearest place was a gas station with a diner attached to it. An old man sat in the corner drinking coffee. When I asked the woman behind the counter if she knew anything about my house, the whole place went quiet. She didn't answer. The old man did. You bought the Miller place. I nodded. He looked at me for a long time. Then you should sell it. I laughed nervously and said, that bad? Nobody laughed with me. The old man stirred his coffee even though there was no sugar in it. House was built in 1911. Family lived there a long time. Husband, wife, little girl. One winter, the girl disappeared. They searched the woods for weeks. Never found her. I asked what happened to the parents. The old man stopped stirring. Mother hanged herself in the barn. Father stayed in the house for another year. Then he vanished too. The woman behind the counter interrupted him. That's enough. But the old man kept looking at me. People say he sealed up a room before he disappeared. My mouth went dry. What room? He shrugged. Nobody knows. House has been renovated too many times. I wanted to ask more, but the woman told me my coffee was on the house and that I should go before dark. I wish I had listened. When I got back, the front door was open. Not wide. Just a few inches. I stood on the porch with the key still in my hand. Inside, the house was silent. I stepped in and called out, "Hello?" No answer. Then I saw the mud. Small footprints. Bare feet. A child's footprints. They started at the front door and led up the stairs. I followed them because fear makes you stupid. At the top of the stairs, the footprints continued down the hallway, stopped under the attic door, and then disappeared. The attic ladder was already pulled down. I knew then that something wanted me to go up there. And I knew I was going to. I got a hammer from the shed. I climbed into the attic. I crawled to the mismatched boards. The whole time, I could hear something breathing behind them. Not loud, not human, just patient. I raised the hammer and struck the wall. The first board cracked. The breathing stopped. I hit it again. And again. By the fourth strike, the board came loose, and a smell rolled out so strong I gagged. Rotten wood. Old dirt. Something sweet underneath. The flashlight showed a dark space behind the wall. Not a room exactly. More like a narrow crawl space. Inside were toys. A porcelain doll with no eyes. A small wooden horse. A child's shoe. And on the floor, sitting perfectly upright, was a little red suitcase. It looked new. Not dusty. Not old. New. My hands were shaking as I pulled it out. There was a name written on the tag. Emily Miller. The missing girl. I opened the suitcase. Inside was a stack of papers tied with string. They were drawings. Children's drawings. A house. A man. A woman. A little girl. And something tall standing behind them. In every picture, the thing was drawn the same way. Long black body. Thin arms. No face. Just a wide open mouth. On the back of the first drawing, written in a child's handwriting, were the words, "He lives in the walls." I wanted to stop. I should have stopped. But I kept looking. The next drawing showed the father boarding up a small door while the little girl cried. The drawing after that showed the mother standing in the barn. The final drawing showed the house from outside. All the windows were black. In one upstairs window, the little girl had drawn herself. In another window, she had drawn me. My blood went cold. The paper was old, yellowed, fragile, but the drawing of me was perfect. Same clothes, same beard, same cut on my hand from the attic nail. Under the picture, Emily had written, "The next man will open it." Behind me, something whispered, "Thank you." I dropped the drawings and turned. There was nothing there. Then the attic entrance slammed shut. The flashlight flickered. From inside the wall, something began to crawl. I heard nails scraping wood. Slow at first. Then faster. I scrambled backward, kicking insulation, trying to reach the attic door. It wouldn't move. I punched it. Screamed. Slammed my shoulder into it. Below me, from the hallway, I heard a little girl crying. "Please don't let him out." The boards behind the crawlspace cracked. A long black hand slid through the opening. The fingers were too long. Too many joints. They curled around the broken wood. I screamed and hit the attic door with everything I had. It burst open. I fell through the ladder and landed hard in the hallway. For 1 second, I couldn't breathe. Then I saw her. A little girl stood at the end of the hallway. Bare feet, white nightgown, dark hair covering half her face. She pointed toward my bedroom. "Hide," she whispered. I didn't ask questions. I ran into the bedroom and slammed the door. The house went quiet. Then the knocking started. Not on the bedroom door. Inside the walls. Knock, knock, knock. It moved around the room, circling me. Knock, knock, knock. Then it stopped behind the mirror above the dresser. My reflection stared back at me. But it wasn't alone. Behind me, in the reflection, stood the tall black thing from the drawings. Its head touched the ceiling. Its mouth stretched open, impossibly wide. I spun around. Nothing. I looked back at the mirror. It was closer. I grabbed a chair and smashed the mirror. The glass exploded across the floor. For a moment, I thought it was over. Then every broken piece of mirror showed the same thing. The tall figure, standing behind me, smiling with a mouth it didn't have. I ran. Down the stairs. Through the kitchen. Out the back door. I didn't stop until I reached the road. I left my car, my wallet, my phone, everything. I ran barefoot for almost 2 miles until a truck driver found me and took me to town. The police searched the house the next morning. They found the broken wall in the attic. They found the drawings. They found the little red suitcase. But they didn't find anyone else. No girl. No man. No thing in the walls. The officer asked me if I wanted to press charges against whoever had broken into my house. I laughed so hard I started crying. I never went back. The bank took the house 6 months later. Eventually, someone bought it. I know because last week, I saw a video online. A young couple standing on the porch of my old house, smiling at the camera. The title was, "We bought an abandoned farmhouse for $12,000. I watched the whole video. They walked through the kitchen, the hallway, the bedroom. Then they found the attic door. The husband laughed and said, "Should we see what's up there?" His wife said, "Maybe tomorrow." And just before the video ended, I heard it. Very quiet, almost hidden under the music. A little girl's voice. No. Then another voice. Dry. Patient. Hungry. It whispered the husband's name. I left a comment telling them to leave the house immediately. They didn't answer. But this morning, they uploaded a new video. The thumbnail shows the husband holding a hammer. Behind him is the attic wall. The title says, "We found a secret room in our house." I haven't clicked it yet. Because I already know what's inside. And now that you know too, please don't listen if something whispers your name from behind the wall.